Hi, everybody. Paul McAneny here.
And Suzanne Skillen, and back again. We hope you're enjoying our podcast. We're certainly enjoying thinking about the things we can share with you from our incredible lives. And one of the things we really wanted to talk about today was something that's become incredibly trendy, a very trendy word, but we've probably been doing it for years, is biohacking. Who knows what biohacking is? Yeah. Any ideas? Any thoughts? So I looked up what it says on Dr. Google, and they say it's biohacking is do-it-yourself biology. Make small incremental diet or lifestyle changes for your health and well-being. I also believe that it's utilizing your body's natural resources to help detoxify, to help with longevity, to help for your all over well-being. So it's basically when you take control of what's going on with your diet, your nutrition, your well-being, your thoughts, your physical well-being, your mental health, all these things, and it's actually taking control and looking at what you actually need. So what do you do? Would you think is one of the main things that you do that people would call biohacking now?
Well, one of the things that one of the first things that I did was weight loss because I was overweight and I was stressed and I wasn't sleeping. So there's three in a row there. But my weight loss was very, very important. Like 12 years ago, because of the stress, I was 28 kilos overweight. And thankfully, I lost those 28 kilos. But the great thing about it, I've kept it off for over 12 years now, so I'm feeling fantastic. And also I worked on the stress and that as well, because the stress was causing me not to sleep, and that caused a lot of inflammation and cortisol and all those sort of things were building up in me. So that was my three major things: is weight loss. Also, I had no energy in that as well. Yeah, so, you know that I know that you're so athletic and fit and all that sort of stuff. And I remember you taking me around the block, and I tired out after one lap around, and I couldn't even tie my shoelaces up without bending down and getting giddy and dizzy and that. So I've completely changed my lifestyle over the last 12 years, and thanks to you and that as well.
Well, one of the main things was your eating habits weren't great, were they? No. So you would, I remember, I'll never forget you coming to a barbecue at my house, and I offered you a big bowl of salad and vegetables, and you just took the sausages and the chops and the meat. And I said, I'll have those later. And later never came. And it never came again either for a long, long time. But then once we started to create a more alkaline diet, because it took you into the alkaline corridor, you started actually to thrive and search for things that were good for you.
Because when I was stressed out, one of the first things that I was going to was, well, obviously I was always having a couple of beers and all that sort of stuff, especially when I was stressed out. But also, I was also going for the chocolates and also the biscuits. So that was and even sometimes you saw me at 10 o'clock at night, I'd be hoeing into some ice cream. So I've changed all those habits thanks to you, but I'm feeling so much healthier and so much better now because of the things that I'm doing now.
And I think it's so interesting when we're going through a time of stress, which we were at that time. That's when Paul put on all this huge amount of weight because of all the stress and the worry. Instead of thinking about how can I get healthier and take care of myself, you were going in the other direction, which I would think 99% of the population do that. Yep. It's like, okay, now I'm not feeling well, but I don't have time to meditate. I'm so exhausted. I don't have time to exercise. I can't be bothered to cook. I'm just going to throw something together. So people start to eat badly as well. So not eating well, you're not taking care of yourself. And it's like a downward spiral. Down we go, because our thoughts and our gut are so, they say the gut is the second brain. So I think it could even be the first brain sometimes, because it really has everything to do with how you're feeling, how you're living, your energy levels. If your gut's out of sort, everything's out of sort. So,
I did have a small gut. Well,
when?
when at the time I had a large stomach, I couldn't even see my toes, and I was really and. You said that I was pregnant, but
with triplets,
So, but my stomach was, and that's the bad fat. It was the visceral fat, and that's what you told me, and so that's one of the things I have worked on, and I feel a lot better, and that because I've lost that now, and it just caused so much stress in the whole lot because I was unhealthy, and I just, as I said, I couldn't walk around the block before, but now I'm feeling fantastic. I go to the gym 4 times a week. I'm boxing. I do 12 3-minute rounds on the bag. Obviously, nobody's hitting me back, so which is a good thing because I don't think I'd last that long. But 12 3-minute rounds on the bag is really the trainers at the club say most people wouldn't be able to do that, and I'm now just going 72, but I feel absolutely fantastic and energized with what we did just by losing the weight, but also having positive thoughts and that as well. So, I go down to the gym, I swim, 40 to 50 laps in the pool, and then I jump in the steam room and the sauna. So that's all part of the biohacking, and that's what I love. I love just sitting in the sauna and the steam room, and just that's my relaxation, peaceful place. So I do a bit of meditation in there as well. So that's been amazing for me.
But you've also forgotten something very important: how we start our day every morning.
Oh, we'll start our day.
For an hour.
We'll Qigong. We do an hour of Qigong every morning, which is exercise and energy, like with martial arts movements. And I'm going like this as we talk, but it's martial arts and just feeling the energy, and that's an amazing exercise. And we started when 3 years ago when COVID was around, and we were doing it every day, and we've been doing it every day to start our days and that as well. So now, what about you? What's I know that
I've been biohacking my whole life.
You have been biohacking. So when you were in London, having you had the gym over there and working with world champion athletes like Formula One racing car drivers and boxers and athletes and soccer players and all those, what did you do to train those people or teach those people on biohacking or,
meditation was incredibly important. And that was something some people were like, I don't want to know that woo-woo stuff, Suzanne. So I never really actually called it meditation. It was mindfulness, and just being conscious of your thoughts. Definitely setting goals, particularly with athletes. It's so important. And I actually saw it work. The people who set goals for a race, or particularly with Formula One, and they had them written down, were the ones that won. They could show me what they'd written, and I know it works. So I'd seen it. I've been really lucky to be around so many top class athletes and people in all walks of life, individuals who have really reached the top in their careers. So I knew that mindfulness was important, and I practiced it myself. I've always practiced it. And in fact, when life becomes tough is when I triple my meditation time. I triple the time I'm really in my own thoughts. I find I become very creative when I have that quiet time. I'm not a person that you're the Energizer Bunny of the two of us. I'm not. I like to be peaceful. I like to really think about, just have time to really go into my own space. Wow. And that's what Qigong has done for you. It really has quietened your thoughts.
Just on that, I love your saying that. I've heard you say it many times, and many of your clients and people slow down to speed up.
That's very true. And not many people do that. A lot of people think they have to speed up. And I think it's interesting, having been a Pilates practitioner before it became popular, I was very lucky to learn from a direct descendant of Joseph Pilates' teachings. He didn't have any children, but he had taught a certain number of teachers himself. I was lucky to learn with one of those amazing teachers in London. And the whole thing with teaching Pilates is mindfulness. And really, I find men very difficult to teach sometimes, particularly men who are on the go, for them to stop, particularly on a reformer where the springs and the lighter the springs, actually the more challenging the exercise. But men would say, put on more springs and work it harder. It's not like that. It was actually the concentration and the control comes from working slowly and with control.
I'm just thinking, how would you like to train me?
Oh, I would. Thank goodness I finished. Well, I was still training when I met you, but I never took you into a class. No. But biohacking, just to get back to biohacking, I was lucky learning ballet from being a little girl, from learning how to control my thoughts, and then, of course, Pilates. And Pilates was an incredible study because it's actually quite primal. And I often would find when I was teaching people, it would bring up a lot of emotion for people. And just because for the first time for months, they would lie on the floor and breathe correctly, or lie on a piece of machinery, or sit on the barrel and reach back, and their hearts would open up. And they hadn't done that. Sometimes months, not just months, years, sometimes never. And I always found it a real honor to teach people and for them to really open up their hearts and their feelings and their emotions. Biohacking is something I really love. Infrared saunas, as you know. I've been injured for a few years. I've had a foot injury that's been very challenging. And I find that the lights really work for me. I also use a red light and a blue light on my face. I've got a little machine, just go up and down.
And I use it as well.
You do, because we can't have one of us looking better than the other. And you've got amazing skin. I don't think you really need it, but still. The other thing is you love the steam room.
The steam room, yeah.
That is something that you love. I like to stretch. I think it's really important that your body is stretched. And I notice if I don't stretch that I get cramps. I don't feel right. So again, it's listening to your own body and what it needs is really, really important. Taking the right vitamins for your body. As a woman, I've always tested from when I went into pre-menopause, to check on my blood levels, my hormonal levels. I listen to my body, what it needs. If I'm tired, there is no way I'm going to go for a run or push myself. And particularly because intermittent fasting has been part of our lives for so long.
Yeah.
And before I even met you, I'd been living in Asia, so I'd done some really, really weird cleanses. But I knew that cleansing was good for the body. I had seen the results. I felt the results in myself. So I've done a lot of talk to me about cleansing. I know a lot about cleansing. Also know a lot about diets and how not to eat. I've learned that over time. But of course, being an ex-student of ballet and then a ballet dancer, I struggled all the time. I had real body dysmorphia. For a while, I had bulimia. I would eat and eat and eat and then be really unwell. But I was never happy with myself. And I remember standing in class and just pinching my waist. And at the time I was like 7 stone, which is tiny. I don't know what that is in kilos, but it's a lot less than I am now. I do know that because I've got some old clothes and I think I can get in one leg would fit in the whole pair of pants. These days I was really, really small, obsessed with my weight. And I did cabbage and soup diets and cayenne pepper and boiled egg diets. You talk about the diets. I've done them, all of them. And the Atkins diet, and really messed up my metabolism through constantly really watching what I was eating, starving myself. And then when I was 11, you know what happened. I was at ballet school, prepubescent, put on a bit of, as little girls do, put on a little bit of weight. And I was sent to a Harley Street doctor by the school. And this doctor was very, very famous. In fact, Elizabeth Taylor was in the waiting room when I went there. And he put us on these tablets that we had to take. We weren't allowed to drink more than 3 small glasses of water a day. We were allowed to suck on jelly babies and gumdrops. I don't know if they have those in Australia, but
we used to have
a fruit that's full of sugar, a little fruit sweet. I don't eat any of those things now, obviously. And we could have meat, just like sliced meat, sliced tongue. I still can't even bear the thought of it. Sliced ham, all these things. And I remember just buying it. We'd eat that. Very few vegetables. No fruit.
Wow. And being a ballet dancer, how long did you train each day for?
Oh, well, I'm at ballet school when this happened. So we had classes before education because we were squashing education in, obviously, during the day. So we would start the first class at about 8 to 9:30, then go over to the school. And the classes are hard. You know, I don't know if anybody's watched or been in a ballet class. They're pretty tough. Have a quick shower, go over to the school, do our education, and then we would have a lunch. We would have a little sleep where we had a little rest, and then in the afternoon squashing all our other education, and then after that from about 4:35 we would sometimes be at the school till 8. Wow. And not allowed to drink, suck on these jelly beans, and tablets. We had to take these tablets. I think they were every morning. I just did what the school told me, but I didn't realize I was on amphetamines. So I would get into bed at night and go like this and shake, and my body wouldn't relax. And that went on for a long, long time. I actually was addicted to amphetamines for a long time. I had to really wean myself off. So I know about eating well to get results and not eating well. And that was when I was under Harley Street doctor. Yeah.
Well, I know that you've worked and helped thousands and thousands of people with their weight loss. And what would be your 3 best tips for actually losing weight? But not only losing weight, the main thing is keeping the weight off.
Well, the first thing is not to get obsessed with scales. Measure yourself first and then put your scales away. Because the scales, and I'm sure you've done this, you stand on the scales in the morning and you won weight. And then if you went on 2 hours later, you can be 3 kilos more. It's just crazy. And it depends on the day. It depends what's happening with your hormones, how you're fluctuating with what you're eating, how much you've been drinking. All those things have an effect. So one of my first things, don't trust the scales. Trust your tape measure. Because as you change, as your body shape changes, particularly if you're starting to exercise for the first time, going out for walks, your body will start to change its composition. So that's really important. Drink lots and lots and lots of water is really important. Not tap water. If you've got a filter, just really pure water, make that your main drink. A lot of people don't do that. And make sure that you're not hungry and starving. Just eat when you really feel like you need to eat, and stop and think about if you need more food. That's the other thing. A lot of people think they can just go on eating, and sometimes it's, no, I'm actually not hungry anymore. You're absolutely satisfied, but it's a thing. And the other thing is get smaller plates, smaller portions. Well, over the years, Western countries, our portions have become huge. I couldn't believe
especially
it.
In America.
When I first went to the USA, I remember having an omelette, and I could have fed a small village almost on that omelette. It was huge. So just being conscious of the size of your portions as well, and doing other things as well, not just thinking about food all the time. Deprivation sends a message to us. I can't have chocolate. I can't have this. I can't have that. Don't think like that. Just have a wide variety of different foods and make sure that you're not depriving yourself of anything. Because the moment you deprive yourself, you're going to want it.
Yes.
So, and the other thing is not to say, oh, I'm not drinking. I hear people say, I gave up drinking on the 4th of February last year, but then they're looking forward to the time they're going to start drinking again. Whereas I found if you just trick your body by saying, I don't think I'm going to drink at the moment. And then if something happens, you can still have a drink, a little taste, because again, otherwise it's deprivation. So the same with sugar. I'm not going to eat any sugar, just wiping it out really seems to upset people because then they go the other way.
Yeah. Yeah, well, when you guided me to lose that 28 kilos in the 90 days, one of the things that really helped me was that intermittent fasting. So cleaning out the toxins and impurities out of my kidneys, liver, my blood, and I just felt so energized and so good. And now we've been cleansing and doing that for nearly 12 years now. So I feel fantastic with that. But the other thing you taught me was breathing.
Oh, yes.
Because I breathe through my mouth. And I never had deep breaths or any breaths through my nose. So I didn't even know what my nose was there for, actually. But I'd never breathe through my nose, always through my mouth. So I was always getting sore throats and, not feeling well and congestion and all those sorts of things. But now I breathe through my nose and I also breathe through my mouth. So can you just explain a little bit about that?
Yeah.
Because I think that's important for because most people don't breathe properly, you say.
Well, our breath is incredibly important, and also to use our lungs correctly. A lot of people are very shallow breathers. Some people just breathe from here rather than breathing deep down from their lungs and diaphragm. So it's just being conscious of how you're breathing. And again, that's why I love Pilates, is actually the breath work. I love Qigong because of that, the breath work, yoga too. They actually have slightly different ways of breathing, but it's always about breathing in through your nose, out through your nose, unless the teacher specifically says, no, do this exercise as maybe a huge sigh out of your mouth. So that's one of the things I think is really important. Breath is I could do a whole podcast on breath. And at the moment, there's quite a few good books about breath. There is a book called Breath. And if you really do struggle, you find you're shallow breathing, you find that you're constantly getting sore throats, you're not feeling great, maybe it's your breath. So again, that's part of biohacking, looking at what your body needs and it's almost like you're taking your power back. It's like, okay, this is what I need to do for me. And I'm not saying eliminate the medical profession because it's very important as well, but just being conscious of what you need for your body. So I know that every night I exercise with a little ball under my foot because my foot's been injured. So I'm strengthening all those tiny little intrinsic muscles in my foot. Knees as well, joints, they're getting a little bit weary.
Well, well, the older we get, especially like you see so many people having hip replacements and knee replacements and all that sort of thing now. So what do we say is work on it now before you have to do these things.
Yeah, so before you lose it, and then you become conscious of how you need it.
Yeah, but look at all the dances, all the ballerinas you dance with around the world. They've had double knee
left, right.
Yeah, and then hip replacements, and you're being so fortunate with that because of your Pilates training and doing that. So
it's just really being conscious of your body, really your anatomy. We are all so unique, so special. We are walking miracles. We really are. If you start to think about what your body does, even whilst we're talking to you, we're breathing, our heart's beating, blood is going through our body. Yeah, we're all these organs are working without us having to do a thing. So we are absolute miracles. You are miracles. And I'm excited about biohacking. I think it's wonderful that it's becoming mainstream. I think it's really, really exciting. Ice baths are a thing now, really huge. Everybody I know is having ice baths and jumping into ice baths. And so it's so good for the circulation. It's so good for healing. at a cellular level, we need to really heal our bodies. And I'm passionate about longevity and well-being. Really, really important. I don't want to end up in an old people's home just sitting in a chair and feeling sad, and nobody will come and visit me.
Well, that's what happened to my mum and dad.
Yes.
I did go visit them, but I mean, they were in there for 5 years,
Yes.
and they just went downhill very, very quickly. And then when my dad passed away, mum passed away like 6 months later. And it was just because she lost all her goals and living and all that sort of stuff. So I didn't want to end up like that. And that's why I'm working on myself now. And thanks to your training and doing all that sort of stuff. So I'll give you the last word.
Okay. Well, thank you. I hope you've really enjoyed listening to this. We're enjoying doing these podcasts. Thank you for listening. We really hope you're enjoying this podcast. Please leave a comment below and share what you like most with us. We're really interested to know who you are. Share with us what you learned from this, and share with your friends too if you've enjoyed this. And we look forward to seeing you again very soon. And remember, life is very beautiful, and expect miracles every day. Bye.
Bye.